Got numbers out from Smurfit Kappa. Full year revenue up 5% year on year to 8.56 billion euros. Fourth quarter revenue up 7% as well. I was just looking over the margin figures as well, and I think the fourth quarter better year on year, although at the EBITDA margin level, the full year figure was a mild decline, 14.5% rather than 15.1% the previous year. Let's get straight to the CEO. Tony Smurfit joins us, CEO of Smurfit Kappa. Nice to see you, Tony.
Good to see you, Steve.
Look, by and large, things looking very positive. Do you want to just go over what's been going on in North America or Americas, because that looks like a little bit of a blot for on the broader figures?
Yeah, I think in general we had a very good year, considering that we had very strong input cost pressures. We had over 120 million of raw material cost during the year, and that's why the full year numbers are behind the end of the year numbers at 15.9%. It shows the momentum in the business. If you look at the Americas, it was a difficult enough year. We had a couple of challenges with regard to hurricanes and things like that, Argentinian devaluation, and of course Venezuela continues to be suffering a little bit. But you know what we've seen is some of our countries actually improving as we started the end of the year. Like Argentina's had a good year at the end of the year despite the devaluation, and we see continuing momentum as we go into 2018. Colombia as well had a difficult enough year, Steve, with the end of the year slowing down because of VAT issues, but it's again starting to improve.
I'm glad when we have the problems for Colombia being about VAT rather than anything else.
Yeah.
We actually spoke to the president actually in Davos. I don't know if I mentioned we were talking to a lot of people in Davos. In terms of, I'm just looking holistically at this whole sector. It seems like it should be in the sweet spot as well. So I'm interested in what you think, because I mean, all we hear about is the mountains of plastic in the Pacific Ocean. We hear about concerns about packaging, about the green agenda. So in terms of paper packaging, you should be in a very sweet spot for a large amount of your business, shouldn't you? Is that how it feels or not?
It does feel that way. I mean, we've always said we're in a sweet spot. I mean, we're an environmentally friendly product. We are biodegradable, we're renewable, recyclable. So it's now the public is starting to wake up to that, and obviously movies like Blue Planet help that whole scenario. So when the public start to become aware of it, then the supermarkets have to change their attitude towards plastics, and they have to start to say, how can we actually change our buying methods? And
are the supermarkets just giving you lip service, or is it real stuff?
No, I think some of them are starting to really change.
What about the big ones? What about Carrefour? What about Tesco's? What about these?
I wouldn't go into specific ones, but I think that some of them are really starting to say, listen, we're working with one of the very big ones right now to move from plastic to paper in mushrooms. So that's a big move if they move out of it. And you know, I've seen a big shift in some of our customers in how they're actually looking at plastic versus paper.
Good.
Can I ask you about wages? I noticed you've mentioned wage inflation in the story today, and this is something the market has been so focused on after non-farm payrolls in the States. It was sort of the trigger for, wow, is there actually wage inflation coming through the system? What are you seeing in the different businesses, and what does wage inflation mean to you?
Well, as I mentioned, I think the last time I was on, we've seen very significant wage inflation in our Eastern European businesses. You know, we're talking 6, 10, 12% increases in certain cases. So
extraordinary.
That's extraordinary, yeah. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, Brexit is going to face some of the challenges with people moving out of the UK back to Eastern Europe, because, you know, they're actually getting paid for doing so. I think with the rest of Western Europe, good quality labour is very hard to find. And that's going to inevitably mean wage inflation, and we're seeing, you know, tightness of labour markets in most of the countries in which we operate.
Can't you just automate your way around this? I mean, there is a feeling that big business can compensate for wage pressure by bringing in some of the heavy machinery with all the changes we have these days, and robotics. Surely you don't need as many workers.
Well, in time that's going to happen. I mean, one of the things that we're seeing is because the demand levels are so good in our industry, the order times for equipment is going out and out and out. So, I mean, if I order a machine to convert products now, it's probably a year of order time. So that's a you know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that would have been 6 months lead time. So there's, you know, yes, there will be automation, but it's going to take some time.
What is the potential to raise prices to customers then at this point, given that you continue to see input costs rise, but there seems to be relatively tight supply, and the fundamentals for Europe have got a whole lot better here. So can you start moving prices up?
We have been moving prices, Jeff. We've got our prices up by about 5%. We've seen momentum into January and February. So we're recovering the input costs, and that's why the margins are improving as we've gone through the year.
And is that going to be sustainable through full year 2018, or do you see any speed bumps to the back end of the year?
I mean, listen, success is never a straight line, but I think that what we see that we have the opportunity to continue to raise our prices, and that's what we're doing currently.
Yeah, and this dollar doesn't get any stronger, does it? I mean,
no, that is going to be a headwind for us.
Yeah, so how do you manage your way through that one, or do you just accept that's the rub of the green?
For us, we have dollar debt, which offsets our dollar earnings, so therefore we've got a natural hedge there. But nonetheless, obviously, if our earnings are translating from dollars into euros, then they're going to be down.